Scary Skirk will toss her enemies into the abyss, and today I'm gonna tell you how to build her best. My name is Juice, and let's get into it. So what artifacts does this certified pet whale owner desire? None other than 4-piece Finale of the Deep Galleries. This is Skirk's tailor-made best in slot set, without question. She has two playstyles, an on-field DPS playstyle, and a burst bot playstyle in which she pops in from off-field to do some nifty burst damage. She gets respective damage bonuses based on which playstyle you're using with her, and all in all, you should farm this for her ASAP. 4-piece Hunters works as well, and considering that Lady Farina is one of Skirkaroni's best in slot supports, it's a good set to use, but it's mostly good for on-fielder Skirk to be exact. Otherwise, 4-piece Blizzard Strayer works as an excellent crit stick as well, and is good for both playstyles, but it works best when the enemy is frozen, so that you're able to yield out the full crit rate buff from the 4-piece. Pretty good placeholder until you can get Finale of the Deep though. 2-piece mix and match sets include 2-piece Craw %, attack %, and normal %. As for Skirkinator's main stats, simple. Go for attack %, Craw %, crit %. There's no reason to go for anything else. She's hungry for those delicious crit stats, and she's a pretty traditional DPS in terms of what she scales on. As for Abyss Lady stat goals, simple. On a 5-star weapon, go for 60 to 200 crit rate and damage, and 1950 attack. And on a 4-star weapon, go for 60 to 155 crit rate and damage with 2000 attack. Skirk does not have ER requirements, because she generates her energy in a unique way which we will cover later. Therefore, you can just ignore trying to fish for any ER rolls. They won't do anything for you. Artifacts-wise, Finale of the Deep is easily the most consistent of a lot, so I'd prioritize farming it up for her. It also covers both of her playstyles the most efficiently. I'd also like to mention that, if you aren't using your signature set, then you can farm for energy at the end of chamber so that you can burst at the start of the next chamber. Otherwise, if you're using your main set, that's sadly not an option due to the 0 energy restrictions. Fun fact, both Childe and Skirk dual-wield weapons. Speaking of which, what are Skirk's best weapon picks? Well, Azure Light is easily her best in slot. It offers her an insane amount of crit value, both in the main stat of the weapon and the passive. It packs her full of juicy attack % stats too. Easily her best bet. It's pretty straightforward to see why this is good on her. Haran is surprisingly good on her, since the stat stick that it offers works nicely on her. It does fall off in performance by a large chunk if you're not on-fielding her though, because even though Skirk's normal attack scalings are within her skill, she still benefits from normal %, making the passive pretty solid for her. Mistsplitter is consistently good between both of her playstyles. A lot of crit, high base attack, and plenty of damage bonus which she can easily stack up. You can get 3 when on-fielding her, and 2 when off-fielding. A great all-round pick for her. Jade Cutter is also fantastic on her, simply due to how large the sticks are. As you might have guessed by this point, if it slaps a ton of stats on Skirk, then it's good on her. Your free-to-play friendly weapon option is going to be Finale of the Deep. Refinements for this choice are free, and it gives you a pretty chunky amount of attack. A good choice if you don't have any of her 5-star picks to work with. Her top choices do change depending on what type of playstyle you're employing with her. Her signature is obviously her consistent best, but the rest of the choices will vary a bit. Take a look to see where your personal choice lands. Who shall join Skirk in her Abyss escapades? Well, there's of course her on-fielder playstyle, in which you play her as a hypercarry being buffed up by numerous different teammates. This team is typically going to consist of a Hydro sub DPS, either another one to form double Hydro, or Shenhe, and then ideally a Scoffier. For your Hydro slot in, Lady Farina is gonna be your best bet. Delicious damage bonus % buffing on top of being able to provide her own excellent sub DPS. She's easily going to be your best bet in terms of Skirk's best Hydra teammate. Otherwise, Yolong gets the job done very well, since Skirk is able to proc her dice, while also benefiting from a ramping damage bonus. Xingqiu would be the free-to-play option, and he's also perfectly serviceable at applying Hydro. Candace works too, since she can offer normal % buffs. Mona's also fine if you don't have the premium options. You can always run Farina Yolong for double Hydro or Xingqiu Dahlia, but if you're not running double Hydro, then you can slot Shenhe as your 3rd slot teammate. She's a fantastic unit for Skirk, serving as one of her absolute best in slot teammates. Her crowd-centric buffs are incredible, and you'll have yourself the best hypercarry Skirk team if you have her around. Escoffier is easily the most important piece of the puzzle though. She single-handedly makes Cryo worth playing, with all the insane Cryo res shred that she offers. She shreds Hydro res too, so the Hydro sub DPS in the team can also benefit. And her own sub DPS is sublime too. Skirk gains an insane performance boost from having her in the team. If you don't have her, then you're gonna have to use a Cryo healer of some variety to sustain fanfare generation, such as Charlotte or Mika. It's not the best alternative, but it'll at least get the job done. TDDS Mualani on Cinder City is also, for whatever Archon forsaken reason, an actually good Skirk team. It sounds utterly ridiculous, but yes, it does work. The Shark Surfer herself is actually able to do some neat damage, since she's getting buffed by Cinder City as well, plus there's HP % on TDDS. Sitlolly can also work as a TDDS Cinder City bot in Skirk teams. Just keep in mind that she doesn't shred Cryo res, so she'll only be benefiting your Skirk's damage through those aforementioned means, but the Hydro Red Shred is a nice bonus to your team's Hydro sub DPSs. Example teams include Skirk, Lady Farina, Shenhe, Escoffier, Abyss Lady, our dearest Hydro Archon, Yolan, the Molding Chef, Skirkaroni, Shingcho, Yolan, Escoffier Ramsey, Skirkinator, Mualani, Shenhe, the Chef, Skirkorian, Lady Farina, Sitlali, the Cooking One, Child's Master, Shingcho, Dahlia or Candice, Charlotte or Mika. Then we have her Burst Bot playstyle. This is where you off-field Skirk, swapping her in occasionally to use her Elemental Burst. It's able to deal a nifty chunk of damage, so it's not a bad way to play her at all. The way it usually goes is you play another Cryo or Hydro DPS up front, and then swap in Skirk for her Burst. For Hydro DPSs, you're able to do this effectively with the likes of Mr. Settle Down, Ayato, and any other Hydro DPS. Novelette already has a really solid team but happens to have Freeze involved, so Skirk's easily able to slot in here. If you're curious about whether you're able to use Master of Student, then you can insert her in Child Ganyu Freeze teams. We rarely ever have AoE content these days that favors this particular team, but this is in fact a viable way to make this work if that's something that you're interested in. Also, to all my fellow C6 Farina mains out there, yes, you're able to use Skirk as a burst bot in your team. It does feel strong, especially since the Abyss Lady's getting some wild buffs from Lady Farina after all. But as you'd expect, it mostly feels strong if you have yourself an Escoffier. Otherwise, I wouldn't advise using this over C6 Farina's other teams. And yes, you can use her as a burst bot in the teams of crowd DPSs. Unfortunately, she does want to cause elemental reactions in order to generate Void Rifts, which help her maintain her skill state. So mono crowd teams just aren't as effective, but general crowd DPS freeze teams? Yeah, she'll be pretty good as a burst bot there. Example teams include Settle Down, Lady Farina, Skirk, Escoffier, Tartaglia, his master, Ganyu, Lamb Sauce Molder, Ayaka, Lady Farina, Skirkadoodle, Ginger Lady, Real Beastly, our dearest Hydro Archon, Skirkonian, Escoffier again. It never ends with this darn chef dude. And our dearest Coco Goat, Farina once more, Skirk Explosion, and Seasoning Enjoyer. Yet how do you play Skirk exactly? Well, I'm gonna cover her main DPS playstyle, because her off-field burst playstyle is literally just press a button. But as for her DPS playstyle, press skill, normal attack 5 times, ult within her skill state, normal attack 5 times, normal attack 5 times, charge attack, normal attack 5 times, done. But charge attack is so that you can absorb nearby Void Rifts, though in the example, there's none generated. That's because I wanted to use Skirk solo so that you would have a clear look at the rotation. Yet how does Skirkaroni work? Well, her normal attacks deal 5 simple physical strikes, nothing much else to add here. As for her skill, if you tap it, you enter an enhanced state. She'll now deal more normal attack damage, her burst will be converted into a special burst, and she will consume a stamina bar next to her. You can gain more points of a stamina bar for triggering freeze reactions and absorbing Void Rifts, thus prolonging her field time. I should also mention that using her charge attack in this state will consume nearby Void Rifts, which give her Serpent Subtlety. If you hold her skill, she'll dash forward, and she's even able to dash over water. This is an ability for exploration. However, it also provides her with burst points for her non-skill state burst. As for her burst, it's unique, since she doesn't operate based on regular burst energy, but instead, Serpent Subtlety. She gains that unique energy from absorbing Void Rifts and causing freeze reactions. If you use her burst outside of her skill state, she'll slice open the void and deal a large chunk of crowd damage. However, if you use her burst within her skill state, she won't do a special animation, but instead, she will increase all the normal attack damage that she does afterwards. It will also absorb nearby Void Rifts. I'd also like to point out how Child's burst is Havoc Obliteration, and all of Skirk's abilities start with Havoc, truly a master-student moment. As for her Ascension passives, simple. Her A1 is what stores her ability to create Void Rifts via elemental reactions, thus also being what rules out mono teams for her. She can have up to 3 Void Rifts at once, and she gains 8 Serpent Subtlety for each one that she absorbs. Cool stuff. As for her A4, it ties her down to purely Hydro Crowd teams, and increases the damage that both her normal attacks or elemental burst does by a significant amount. It's chunky stuff. Very strong A4, really encourages building your teams in a particular manner. Also, while I don't usually point out the additional passives on units, Skirk has one that's actually pretty good. She increases everyone's skill level by +1 if all members of the current party are either Hydro or Cryo. Really good, especially since all of her DPS mode's important scalings are stored within her skill. Also, with that being said, that's another neat reference to Child's kit that they've slid into Skirk's. Awesome! As for Skirk's talent priority, simple. Go for this. You actually only really have to level up one talent respectively, depending on whatever playstyle you're going for. I'd recommend leveling both her skill and burst, so that you can decide what to play whenever you feel like it, but if you're looking for resource efficiency, then just level whichever talent correlates to the respective playstyle that you're going for. While she does benefit from normal attack % buffs, you don't want to level her normal attacks if you're playing her as a main DPS. This is because, much like Tartaglia, she hosts her scaling within her skill. I absolutely adore all the little references they put in her kit in relation to CHILDE. Primo gems look absolutely Abyss flavored, don't they? Are you looking to sacrifice all of them to the Abyss Lady herself? Then let's talk Constellations. Her C1 is mostly a nice damage increase, since it improves her own output. It's good stuff, but it's nothing that you need to go out of your way for. Very strong though, consider yourself lucky if you got a double and a 10 pull. This C2 jacks up her damage by a pretty chunky amount. Her burst gets an extra free 10 Thorpe and Subtlety attached to it, and she gets a 70% attack buff for her DPS playstyle. Considering how high value attack is within freeze teams, this is really good. Fantastic Constellation. Her C3 benefits her burst-based playstyle, so I'd stop at C2 if you're a dolphin looking to invest in her on-field based playstyle. This dumps Skirk with even more attack, so it ends up being pretty strong, but it's honestly nothing that I'd go for on its own. In terms of C4s, it's not bad at all though. Her C5 improves her on-fielder playstyle more, since it levels up her skill by +3. This ends up being a very strong con as a result. Great C5. We finally did it, guys! We got ocean-hued clam levels of yapping in a constellation. Jokes aside, yes, this is clearly busted. She just deals a whole truckload more damage. Don't be fooled by the large wall of text. It simply adds very strong coordinated attacks to your kit. Like, really strong coordinated attacks. Busted C6. And a good investment to make if you're a whale that's trying to decide who your first C6 is. But I would like to remind you that we're very close to the release of a new region, and it's pretty likely that Genshin is going to raise the power barrier for Constellations again soon, since the bar tends to raise with every new region we get. So while she's an excellent C6, if you're not a Skirk mega fan in particular, perhaps wait for Not Cry. In terms of Skirk's high primo gem based investment, Escoffier is the #1 thing that you should be pulling for. Seriously. On the Molding Chef's next rerun, if you don't have her already, then get her. Otherwise, your next best investment will be to pick up Skirk's signature, then go for Constellations. Stop at C2 if you're a dolphin, and go all the way to C6 if that's something that you're interested in, but I wouldn't aim for C3 to 5 in particular. C3 is nice if you're using her as a burst bot though. I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. I really love how Hoyo baked so many subtle references to CHILDE in this kit. Tartaglia was one of the first few Genshin characters that I fell in love with, so to see all these cool little nods to their master-student relationship, it was just awesome. Really cool to have his master in the game now, and her own kit and playstyle are as smooth as butter. Fantastic character for sure, and another excellent addition to my cryo roster. How are you finding Skirk? Let me know down below. As always, I have a fun second channel where I just kinda yap about whatever in relation to gacha games. Head on over and check that out if that's something that you're interested in. Hopefully this video is able to get your Skirk yeeting her enemies into the void. This has been Juice, signing out, and man, she's drained all my primos before Not Cry, but with how cool she is, I might as well thank her for that.